Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's time for class. Gather around. This is Auntie Z, Chief Cheerleader at Shape of African, encouraging you and me to live a healthy lifestyle from our African heritage to eat healthy the African way. So welcome. I'm also known as Teacher Monjok, bringing you live food and nutrition, African food and nutrition sessions normally every Saturday, but today is an exception. So today we have a very, very important topic we want to talk about. Do you understand? Gather around for class. Make sure that you call your community members. Make sure that you invite your neighbors. Make sure that you invite even your enemies because they need to hear this, okay? Gather around, take your notepads and sit down in class. Let us start talking today about agege bread, also known as, KUMBA bread in Cameroon. This is going to be a very practical class today, guys. Gather around. Make sure that you share this video already. Start sharing so that many more people are going to benefit from the information that I'm about to share here today. So today, guys, we want to talk about KUMBA bread. We're just going to go right into the session, all right? Because it's so important. We have a lot to share. We want to talk about KUMBA bread. Those of you who are Cameroonians, you know this bread as KUMBA bread. Those of you who are Nigerians, you know this bread as agege bread. You understand? I don't know about the Ghanaians in the house and other countries in Africa, but most of us know this as agege bread. We know this as KUMBA bread. And we have grown up enjoying, do you understand, this bread. I don't know about you, but I know I have known this bread to be soft. Do you understand? Look at it. Look at when you just touch it like this. It is soft, it is juicy, it is succulent, it is extrapolacious. Do you understand? It is so good when you eat it. I don't know how many people have ever tasted KUMBA bread. Just raise a hand, say hi, comment below. Let me know what you think about this bread. Let me know how this bread makes you feel. And today, I want to talk specifically about this bread because there is a reason why KUMBA bread is soft like this. There is a reason why when you eat KUMBA bread, you feel so good. When you eat KUMBA bread, you always want more. When you eat agege bread, you want more. Many of us have it with fried eggs. Do you understand? Many of us have it with, peppered meatballs. Many of us have it with assorted meat. Do you understand? I know that when we grew up back then in Cameroon, going to, secondary school, there were these ladies that sold KUMBA bread by the roadside or during break in school, So some of them are going to, they call it chargé, pain chargé. They are going to, sandwich it with sometimes even cooked spaghetti with meatballs that has been peppered or kanda, what you call, is it shaki or pomo? Yes, in Nigeria. It's so delicious, and you are going to realize that as a youth growing up in school, you always had this tendency of wanting more. Your 100 or 200 francs was not sufficient because when you ate the share that you bought, you always felt like you wanted to eat more. It was a go-to, lunch break meal. I don't know if you have noticed, but this bread is so easy to chew. It is so easy to swallow. It is so easy to digest, and there is a reason why that is. And that is one of the reasons, or the main reason why we want to talk about this bread, because there is a reason why they make it so soft. There is a reason why when you eat agege bread, KUMBA bread, it is so easily digested. In fact, it is what I call rapid fire chewing, rapid fire digestion. It just goes down like okra. Do you understand? I know some people, and I was one of them, who could actually eat half of this bread. Half of this bread. Before we continue, I want us to think about it for a moment, okay? If you can hear me loud and clear, welcome. Comment below. Let me see your comments. Let me know where you're watching from. And also try as much as possible, if you can, and if you will, to share this video because we have a lot to share and to learn from this video today. So I don't know if you have noticed that most of the time when you are feeling like you are feeling sad, you have gone through maybe something sad, maybe a broken relationship. What you think about, the food that you think about to consume during that moment is always going to be something like this kind of agege bread. Most people are going to use it and drink, hot chocolate. They are going to make Ovaltine. They are going to add milk to it. They are going to sit down, butter this bread, add sardine, and eat. In fact, just the thought of it is so pain relieving. Can you relate? The problem is when you eat this, you are still not satisfied. The problem is when you eat this, your pain still does not go away. After some time, you still feel heartbreak. You go and get another slice of agege bread. Have you noticed that when you eat this bread, it does not stay like 1 hour, 2 hours. You are still hungry. Have you noticed? Have you noticed that whenever you eat this bread, when you go to the toilet to do number 2, it's not an easy something. It's not even a plain matter. As a matter of fact, this agege bread, have you noticed that when you eat it and you go to the toilet, your anus can you can tear your anus trying to make number 2. Have you noticed? I don't know. Let us talk. Let us communicate here. Let it not be a one-man show. Talk to Auntie Z. Those of you who have tried agege bread, those of you who have eaten KUMBA bread, I want to hear your experience in the comment area below. Because when you share your experience, you are going to realize as we go further why you have had those experiences with agege bread, and also most often than not with the foods that are made from refined wheat flour like agege bread. Have you noticed that when you eat this agege bread, when you eat KUMBA bread, you are bloated, your stomach is just hanging there, your stomach is just, you are looking like a 5-month-old pregnant woman. Have you noticed that? Well, today I want us to talk all about agege bread. We want to look at the ingredients that are used to make agege bread. We want to look at the ingredients that are used to make this KUMBA bread. We want to analyze this KUMBA bread to see why it is the way it is. Why is it that it is soft like that? Why is it that it is easily chewable? Why is it that it just goes down when you just dip it in milk or Ovaltine and put it in your mouth? It just goes down like okra soup. It goes. Why is it that when you eat KUMBA bread or agege bread, as it is called, after 2 hours you are still hungry? Why is it that after you eat agege bread and KUMBA bread, you now start craving even sweet things? You have very serious cravings. If you have not noticed it, I want you to try it. Do you understand? Eat this agege bread, eat KUMBA bread, drink it, take a cup of milk, add Ovaltine. Do you understand? Add milk, add whatever you want to add. Sandwich is the way you like to sandwich it. Eat it, and I'm telling you, if you do that continuously, you are going to start craving sugary foods. You are going to start feeling even more and more hungry. Agege bread, KUMBA bread will no longer satisfy you, and this is what we want to look at today. So, I have removed the label from this agege bread because I don't want to sabotage these people's business. And by the way, before I continue, this is agege bread I bought months ago. Because I was trying to see, I was experimenting with this agege bread to see how long is the shelf life. If I buy it and leave it in the open like this, what is going to happen? Will it get stronger? Do you understand? Because normally, if we use normal natural ingredients, the expectation is that after a while, even as they have put it on the label that it is going to expire after 2 weeks. I wanted to see if after 2 weeks, the agege bread will expire. I wanted to see if after 2 weeks it will start catching mold. I wanted to see what was going to happen if I kept this agege bread for more than 2 weeks. And now I have this agege bread for more than 2 months. This agege bread is 2 months, 2 freaking months old, and it is still soft and juicy. Do you understand? As it is, and we are going to cut it open to see. So, to proceed, let us look at the ingredients. What do they use to make, especially industrial agege bread like this, the one that they sell to all of us? Do you understand? The industrial KUMBA bread, what do they use to make it? First of all, they use plain wheat flour. Plain unrefined wheat flour. It is here on the label. I don't know. It is written in German, so I'm just translating it for you. So they use plain wheat flour, which is the main ingredient. They use sugar. They use instant dry yeast. They use butter. They use water. They use soybean flour. They use salt, and then they use spices, which we don't know which spices are used because the spices are not mentioned on the label. Okay, so other things that are also included in this agege bread, the commercial industrial agege bread, are emulgators. The last time I came live, I was talking to you about E-numbers, and really I have to come live to really share what all these E-numbers are about. So they use emulgators. You have E471, E472, then they use stabilizers. They use E412, E466, and calcium phosphate. They use acid regulators, E262. So apart from the white flour that is being used, they use emulgators like E471, which is an anti-staling agent. E471 and E472 are emulgators. Those are anti-staling agents. What are anti-staling agents? Anti-staling agents are agents that help baked goods like this not to grow stale. Now you begin to see why this bread will not grow stale. If you like, you keep it. I don't know how long I'm going to keep it again. But if you keep it again for long, it will still be soft. Make bread in your home by yourself. If you make your own bread at home, I produce my own bread. I make bread at home with whole grain flour. And I'm telling you, after 1 week, bread will stale. Bread will go stale in the same room temperature that I've been keeping this bread for 2 months now. Bread will go stale. So you have emulgators they are using, which enables the bread to stay fresh and it is in its soft form like this, moist like this. E471, E472. Then you have the stabilizers, which help stabilize the emulgators. The E412, the E466, and calcium phosphate. Okay, which gives the bread this firm texture that it has, so that the bread should not fall apart. Do you understand? Then you have acid regulators like the E262 that I've mentioned. So acid, it is sodium acetate, okay, which is the sodium salt of acetic acid. Okay, you can research that. All right, now let us look at the nutritional value of this. And before I talk about the nutritional value, you are going to realize that some of these breads actually use other emulgators and stabilizers like E330. E330, those are the most dangerous emulgators and stabilizers. Some of them still use E330. That one has been banned in certain countries, you understand, in Europe. So you have to be very careful. I just want to put out a word of warning there. Whenever you are buying your agege bread or your KUMBA bread, you want to make sure that you are looking at the E numbers, and that is the reason why E numbers are very important. They just put the E numbers, E471, E472. You don't know what that is as a consumer. Do you understand? And in Africa today, because there is no regulating body that is going to come and take this bread and go and test it in the lab to see that they have really used only E471 and E472 and E412 and E466 and E412 as they have mentioned, you never know. I have found breads that have E330, one of the most dangerous additives in food, which has been banned in Europe. In Africa it has not been banned. I don't even know whether it is controlled for. That E330, you can research it, is one of the most cancer-causing additives that you are going to find in baked goods like bread. So this is very, very important to be able to know what you are having on the label and what that signifies. I want to encourage all of us to really take time when you are buying or the foods that you eat regularly. Just take some time one day and research what you find on the label. You are going to find out the information that you need to know if these additives are healthy or they are harmful. That being said, let us go ahead and talk immediately about the nutritional value of agege bread, KUMBA bread, okay? Anytime I say agege bread, think KUMBA bread. Anytime I say KUMBA bread, think agege bread, okay? So, we are going to be talking about the nutritional value of 100 grams of agege bread. And I said we are going to get practical in this class. So, let us go ahead and weigh about 100 grams of agege bread. And I'm going to turn this down so that we can all see, okay? Hopefully. Yes. Okay, so let's go. Here I have my scale, which I put, oh my God. What's happening to my, okay, everything is good. So I have my scale here. What's happening? Sorry. Yes, I have my scale here, and we are going to go ahead and weigh this whole bread first of all. Because most of us have the tendency to eat half KUMBA bread not knowing what it weighs. So you can actually see here that one whole KUMBA bread like this, we are talking about 755 grams of KUMBA bread, right? This is 755 grams of KUMBA bread. So most people sit down and eat half of this. Let us talk about 350 grams. Okay, so if I want to measure out about 100 grams of this KUMBA bread, I'll first of all go ahead and cut it into two, just like so. Then I know that I have about 350 grams per side. Let me go ahead and weigh that. Yes. So 100 grams, maybe about 2 slices of this, if I'm not mistaken. Look at how soft that is. So I'll go ahead and, yeah, that's 75 grams already. So just one slice is 75 grams. Let me just leave it at that for the moment so that you can see. We have about 75 grams of bread here. So we have to talk about the nutritional value of approximately 100 grams of bread. And we know, you and I know, that none of us eat this small quantity of agege bread. It's a lie. This one is passing only in your teeth. And let us be honest. Do you understand what I'm saying? So 100 grams of agege bread, we are talking about 290 kilocalories, 4 grams of fat, 54.5 grams of carbohydrates, and of which are just refined carbohydrates. We are going to talk about that in a minute. And in these 55 grams of carbohydrates, you have 11 or say 12 grams of sugar. And then they mention on the label that this 100 grams is contains 7.6 grams of proteins. Okay, so you have seen it for yourself. 100 grams, this is 75 grams, it's true, but if I cut it a little bit thicker, I would have had 100 grams. It is like paper, it is light. Do you understand? And you begin to understand the reason why you can eat half KUMBA bread, you don't hear nothing. It enter your teeth, just go high for some place for day. Do you understand? Now, let us look at the nutritional value point by point. Today, I'm going to focus on the flour that is used, because I mentioned a while ago that they use plain flour to make this KUMBA bread. The reason why I want us to focus on the ingredient flour is because the flour plays a huge role with regards to how fast you chew the food, how fast you swallow and digest the food, how fast you crave more carbohydrates and sweets and sugary things. The flour that is used plays a huge role on whether it is going to nourish your body or not. It plays a huge role on whether you're going to, have diseases or not, or on whether the bread is harmful or helpful or not in our body. So let us look at the flour that is used. We are told by the label or from the label that the flour that is used is refined flour, plain flour. Plain flour is equivalent to refined flour. What is refined flour? How do they make refined flour? Number one, I want you to know that plain flour or refined flour is made from grains like wheat. And in this case, this KUMBA bread is made from plain flour, plain wheat flour. Plain wheat flour simply means that it is flour that has been refined. What does it mean when we say that flour has been refined? Or exactly, what does it mean? Now we'll go back to the grain, the wheat grain. I want to show you some nuts. This is peanuts, dried peanuts. So imagine that the flour that was used for this bread is made from a grain, which is the wheat grain. Imagine that this peanut is the wheat grain. This wheat grain, the wheat grain is made up of 3 main parts or 3 main layers, okay? You have the bran, which is the outer layer, just like this peanut here. You have the bran of the wheat grain, the outer layer. Take note of that. And this bran, the outer layer of the wheat grain, it is the place where you find the fiber of the grain. This is where fiber is found. This is where you are going to find trace minerals, okay? This part is very important and we are going to talk about why. So this is the first outer part of the wheat grain that is used to make the flour that is used to make the agege bread, okay? Now, the next part of the wheat grain is the germ. So from the outer layer, you get into the germ. You understand? Let me just take this one down. So this is the next layer. Imagine that the germ, let me see if you can see this properly. Oh, it's quite not so clear. Anyway, this is the germ, this other inner layer. You know, remember we took out the outer layer, which is the bran, which is the place where you find the fiber and the trace minerals. So this is the germ of this thing. And this germ is actually rich in nutrients. It is the nutrient storehouse of the grain. This part is very, very, very important. It is the part that has the antioxidants. It is the part that has vitamin E. It is the part that has the B vitamins. It is the part that contains the healthy fats of the grain. There is also another part in the grain. If I peel off the germ, this germ, we are still imagining that this is a grain. Don't think it's granite. We are just demonstrating. Then you have the endosperm, which is the innermost layer of the wheat grain. Okay? This is the innermost layer of the wheat grain, and it is the part that provides us with energy. It is the part that contains the carbohydrate, you know, and the protein. All right? So we have seen that a wheat grain is made up of 3 different parts. You have the bran, which is the outermost layer, where you have the fiber and the trace minerals, right? Then you have the germ, which is the inner layer, which is the core of the wheat grain. It is the place where you find the nutrients, you have the antioxidants, you have the vitamin E, you have the B vitamins, you have healthy fats. This is the most, let me just say, the most important part actually of the wheat grain. And then you have the innermost part, as I just showed you, which is the energy part, the part that provides the energy, the carbohydrates, the protein. Okay, very important. Now, what happens when you refine flour? We are talking about refination of the flour. Remember, we are talking about agege bread, and that agege bread is made from refined wheat flour. So, refined wheat flour, it simply means that they have taken the wheat grain, they have removed the outer layer where the fiber and the trace minerals are. They have removed the germ, which is the core of nutrients, of antioxidants, of vitamin E, of B vitamins of the wheat. They have discarded all of that. They have thrown it away. They don't put that for inside dustbin. And so what is left is only the part that has the energy, which is the endosperm. This endosperm now is processed and refined and pulverized into the flour that is used to make agege bread. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, what this means is that the flour that is used to make your agege bread that you are eating is void or devoid of fiber. And all of us know what fiber is, or the benefits of fiber in our diet. Scientific research has shown that the reason why many people get fat is because they don't even have fiber. They don't consume enough fiber. We don't consume our daily requirement of fiber. Fiber that helps us to digest food, that helps for bowel movement, that it has a lot of different functions, that keeps you fuller for longer. So when there is no fiber, what happens is that you are going to eat bread, you are going to eat agege bread, and you are not full. Why? Because there is no fiber. Do you understand? Then they have removed the germ, the inner layer, the nutrient-rich core of the wheat grain, where you have the antioxidants. Do you know what antioxidant does to the body? Very, very, very important nutrient for the body. They have removed antioxidants which could help reduce your inflammation rate in the body. So, you know, when you have a lot of inflammation or your body is too inflamed, that is a high risk. It puts you at high risk for cancer. This is the reason why many of us are dying, because we are eating foods that are putting us at high risk for cancer. It is not the devil, my friends. It is not your village people, my friends. Do you understand? They have removed the germ, which is the part that has vitamin E, which is the part that has all the B vitamins. which is the part that has the heart-healthy fat. They have removed it and thrown it away. Do you understand? And they have only used the innermost part, the endosperm of the wheat that contains only energy. Do you understand? And to be able to, you know, make bread like this, you have to use a lot of flour. So what happens is that you are using a product that is mainly carbohydrate, and it is not the good carbohydrate. It is the simple carbohydrates. It is the sugar that we are consuming. Do you understand? So we are consuming a high energy product which is devoid of essential minerals, essential vitamins, essential nutrients that are meant to help our bodies to be strong and all of that. Do you understand? So if there's any questions so far, please go ahead and ask the questions. Now, we want to proceed to the next step and want to talk about the health dangers of consuming refined wheat products like this. In general, all of the flour that we use to make chin-chin, pancake, agege bread, today we are talking about agege bread, but in general, all of the flour that we use to make all of these our delicious goods that we eat on a regular basis and in high quantities, puff and all of that, is flour that is devoid of nutrients. The nutrients have been thrown away, and now you are using it to make these products. And then when you buy industrial agege bread like this, it does not only have flour, sugar, butter, and all of that. It also has additives. We have talked about all the E numbers that are here. I've shown you the label. You are talking about E471, E472, E412, E462, some of which have some negative side effects. Do you understand? So, what Auntie is trying to say today is that I'm not saying that don't eat agege bread any longer. I'm not saying that don't eat agege bread. No. What I'm saying, number one, is that you need to first of all understand what commercial agege bread is made of. We need to have an awareness, a sense of, you know, awareness of what is in our food. You need to know your food. You need to be able to have a label like this and be able to read it and decipher what these E numbers stand for. You need to develop some curiosity for knowledge of what you are eating, because what you eat is going to either make or mar your health. It's very, very important. Okay, so let me share with you some of the things that happen when you constantly eat agege bread, or when you constantly eat foods that are derived from refined flours like wheat flour that is used to make agege bread. We have made the case that agege bread is made from wheat flour. We have looked at wheat flour and we have looked at the wheat grain. I have demonstrated what a wheat grain is made of, or the nutrient content of a wheat grain. We have talked about the different parts of the wheat grain, just like this peanut. This is not a wheat grain, this is peanut. We have said that the wheat grain is made up of three main parts. You have the bran, which is just like this outer covering of the peanut, where you have the fiber and the trace minerals, right? Then we have also gone ahead further to demonstrate that if you peel off the bran of a wheat grain, you are going to have an inner germ, which is the core or the center where the nutrients are found in the wheat grain. We are talking about antioxidants, we are talking about the B vitamins, we are talking about vitamin E, and so on. We are talking about the healthy fats. Do you understand? And then if you continue peeling further into the wheat grain, and you peel the germ, you are going to find the endosperm, you understand, of the wheat germ, which is the part that has just the carbohydrate. And we have made the case that when they want to refine flour, they discard the germ and the bran, the two most important parts of the wheat. And then they use that flour to make this. And in commercially making the bread, they include other additives which may not be very good for your health, and they cause a lot of issues. For example, this is what we want to talk about now. Number one, most foods like this agege bread, KUMBA bread, they are made up of refined wheat grains, you know, that has been transformed into flour. And the carbohydrate that is in this wheat grain, remember that they use just the endosperm. The carbohydrate that is found in this wheat grain is called amylopectin A. Amylopectin A. Please research that for yourself. That carbohydrate is the carbohydrate that is converted into blood sugar very, very fast. It is converted into blood sugar faster than any other carbohydrate. You know, carbohydrates are, you have different types of carbohydrate. You have the starch, you have like amylopectin, you have the sugar, you have fiber, right? So the carbohydrate that is found in the refined wheat flour is called amylopectin A. And this amylopectin has been shown to be converted into sugar. So what that means is if you consume this agege bread, what happens is that the agege bread, you are consuming actually carbohydrates, mainly carbohydrates, right? And this carbohydrate is absorbed and digested in your intestines, you understand? And you have metabolic processes that go on. And what happens is that the carbohydrate is going to be metabolized into sugar very, very fast. As a matter of fact, eating just like 2 slices of this agege bread or KUMBA bread will raise your blood sugar faster than 6 teaspoons of sugar, pure sugar. I don't really know whether you understand what this means. For somebody that has diabetes, type 2 diabetes like myself, I know what it means if I just took a teaspoon of sugar, about 6 grams of sugar right now, and I measured my blood sugar before I took the sugar, and then immediately after, say like 10 to 15 minutes after, you're going to see how my blood sugar is going to rise. Do you understand? Very fast, because sugar gets into the body, it's like glucose, it just raises blood sugar immediately. That is not going to be a problem for someone who is healthy, whose metabolism is functioning properly, whose pancreas is releasing insulin properly. That's not going to be an issue. But if you are already, let me say, pre-diabetic or overweight or obese, you have a problem. So imagine consuming 2 slices of agege bread, and we are telling you, the literature is telling you that it is going to raise your blood sugar 6 times faster than 6 tablespoons of plain sugar. This is alarming. It should ring a bell in our head. So what that means is that white bread like this raises blood sugar more dramatically than pure sugar. I need us to chew that and macerate that for a minute. Do you understand? Sometimes we say, oh, I don't eat I eat the bread, you know, I eat this and that. No. This is the reason why we are getting obese. This is the reason why we are getting sick. And we have made the case, I spoke last 2, 3, 4 weeks ago about the effects of constant high blood sugar in the body. I mean, that's a discussion of another day. I think I need to talk about diabetes in another video. If you want me to talk about diabetes, the effect of high blood sugar, please comment below and I'm going to program that, okay? So this bread is very, very destructive to our health, especially because we consume it on a regular basis in very high proportions, okay? Number two, my sister Mama says pankanda. Yes, very correct. We used to enjoy it very much. In fact, as a matter of fact, I used to enjoy pankanda. So the second thing that I want to share with you, what this agege KUMBA bread does in our body, is that it causes food cravings. Like I said in the beginning, have you noticed that whenever you eat KUMBA bread, you know, sometimes you get emotional, you're going through something in your life, I don't know, a marital problem, or you know, you've lost your job or something, and the tendency is that you are going to immediately get or reach for KUMBA bread. Why? Because the flour that has been used to create this KUMBA bread has been genetically modified. Back in the days, 50, 60, 70 years ago, the wheat that was grown by our forefathers, our ancestors, was not genetically modified. So it had a protein which was not also genetically modified. Remember, I have said that the endosperm of the wheat grain has some protein. Now that protein's name is gliadin, okay? These days, because of commercial purposes because they want to feed the masses, you know. Wheat grain has been genetically modified such that this gliadin has become very, very active. It has become a very active compound. It is no longer the gliadin that was in the days of our ancestors, you know. So it has become modified and has changed its nature, its genetical form. Now it is very, very active, and so it unleashes in your brain a feel-good effect, you know, a feel-good effect. So whenever you consume agege bread, KUMBA bread, you use flour to make puff-puff and all of that, especially the refined flours, you have to understand and always keep in mind that now you are consuming a genetically modified version of the wheat grain, which has been refined, whose bran has been thrown away where the fiber is, whose germ has also been thrown away, which is the core of the plant, which is the nutrient core, where as I mentioned, the B vitamin is, where the antioxidants are. So you no longer have even the antioxidants which were there to be able to reduce inflammation in the body. And as a result, the gliadin, the protein that is there called gliadin, has also been modified. It is now a GMO. Do you understand? And so the effect that gliadin triggers in the brain is that you feel good. That is the reason why when you eat agege bread, you are feeling fine. Do you understand? Let me tell you, I can testify. You are feeling fine. You want to reach for another slice. You want to send your child in the middle of the night to go and buy another, you know, another loaf of KUMBA bread. As a matter of fact, when that relative comes to visit you and does not bring KUMBA bread, you are not happy. Do you understand? I don't know if you can relate. And not only does it give you this feel-good effect, it also stimulates appetite. That is the reason why when you eat agege bread, KUMBA bread, you are always hungry. You have a large appetite. You want more. And you don't only want more of the KUMBA bread or the agege bread. Now you want more of sugary things. You want more, how do you call it? Chocolate. You want more, you know, what's this thing? Ovaltine. You want more. You only want more and more and more, and it does not end. It is actually a vicious cycle. Do you understand? I mentioned below that before to make this agege bread, they had to throw away the bran and the endosperm, right? So you have a concentrated flour, which is concentrated in the endosperm, which is concentrated in calories. So you have lots more of calories in this agege bread. We have talked about the nutritional value of this agege bread. We talked about the fact that 100 grams has 290 kilocalories in it. It is just way too much. And when you hold the 100 grams as we measured, it's like paper. It weighs nothing. So before you want to even fill your stomach, you have to eat half a loaf like this with a bowl of, you know, Ovaltine milk and I don't know whatever inside. Not to talk about the chargement that you have charged it with, I don't know, sardine or egg, or, you know, some people even do spaghetti mixed with bullet, packed there with pepper. You understand? I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to myself. Because I myself, I was inside the matter. So this is what it's going to do. You are going to have a caloric overload. You are going to eat a lot more calories than you should have. And these are the main causes of overweight, obesity, and the diabetes epidemic. Now, the very fun thing is, I have heard many people say, oh, when you clock 35, your metabolism slows down. I don't know if you understand what metabolism is, but your metabolism slows down. Metabolism is simply the processes of breaking down foods or building up foods together for, you know, bodily processes. So metabolism has to do with anabolism and, you know, breaking down of food, breaking down carbohydrates to starches or to glucose, breaking down proteins to amino acids. That's all about metabolism, because we need metabolic processes to be able to, you know, remain alive, to be able to talk, to be able to breathe, to be able to walk and all of that. So many people say that, of course, the literature also says that at 35, the metabolism is going to slow down, which is true. But generally, we are the ones that use our hand and chop things that makes our metabolism to really slow down even before the age of 35. That's why you're going to see a young girl of about 25, a young girl of 30, a young girl of 35, you know, whose metabolism has slowed down. What that means is that your metabolism is no longer working. It is It's like a snail. You know, the processes of breaking down become so slow that instead of your body to be burning calories, your body shifts from a phase of calorie burn into a phase of fat storage. That's what happens when your metabolism slows down. Remember, and I'm going to maybe talk about this also in another live video, all the processes of metabolism happens in the cell. Do you understand? All processes of metabolism happen in the cell. And when the cell is starved of the nutrients that it needs for the metabolism to happen, what happens is that it slows down. Cells can no longer divide. That's why you are going to see a woman of 30, she already has wrinkles. Cells can't divide. Proteins cannot be broken down to amino acids. That's why we are going to see our muscles are like butter. They are too soft. We cannot build muscle because metabolic processes have slowed down. That's why you cannot digest food. That's why food, which is supposed to be, broken down for energy when you need energy, will not be broken down for energy, but instead is going to be stored. Glycogen is not going to function. It's not going to metabolize. It's going to be stored as fat. And that's the reason why you are going to struggle until you go on. In French, in Cameroon, they say, si tu veux, tu sautes, tu cales en l'air. You are not still going to lose weight if weight loss is your goal. So it has to do with the foods that we consume. That is the reason why I want to encourage you and me to limit consumption of foods like this. Really limit it. We are not doing ourselves any good. I'm just glad that I'm having this knowledge now, because there are so many things that if I had known, say 10 years ago, I would have done differently. And that is the reason why I'm very passionate about sharing this information with you guys, even though I've not yet reached my goal weight. And I don't want to reach my goal weight first before I start sharing to you. No, I want to let you know that the struggle is real. Auntie Z was in the matter, and it had to take type 2 diabetes for me to reset my mind. It had to take me back to school and all of this, and I'm so happy that now I know and I want to share with you. So please, my people, reduce consumption of foods like this, especially the ones that you buy, because you don't know the additives that have been used to do this, okay? And also because this refined flour is not doing us any good. As a matter of fact, these are just empty calories. I want to share with you a study that was carried out in 2004 in the Harvard University on rats. So what they did was that they took rats, it's a case control study, as they call it. So they took a case of rats, let me call it 10 rats of a particular weight, all weighing the same, and 10 rats of the same weight. They separated these two groups of rats A, rats B. What they did was they took they built up a nutrition plan for these rats and gave both rats the same quantity of food, with the same nutrients. The only difference that was made was that they gave, in the group of rats A, they gave them carbohydrates which are high on the glycemic index. What that means is that carbohydrates that spike blood sugar, for example, let's say they gave them agege bread, they gave them puff puff, they gave them chin chin, foods that were made from refined wheat flour. Meanwhile, the group B rats, what they gave them were also carbohydrate foods, but non-starchy carbohydrate foods, meaning carbohydrate foods that are low on the glycemic index. What that also means is that they gave rats B carbohydrates that don't spike the blood sugar. Do you understand? And at the end of the experiment, they realized that both groups, rats A and rats B, they had the same weight at the end of the experiment. That means they weighed the rats and they had the same weight. But there was a difference. The rats in the group which received agege bread, what happened is that they found out that these rats had accumulated a lot of fat. 71% of these rats accumulated a lot of fat. Meanwhile, the other rats B, they had the same weight, but they were more muscle mass. Do you understand? So that's the difference that nourishing yourself with foods that are low on the glycemic index, or low glycemic carbohydrates, can do to the body. Just to share with you. And I mentioned also another effect of eating agege bread and foods like this is that it's going to cause inflammation. It's going to cause inflammation. Now you are going to ask me how. When you eat agege bread like this, and I mentioned it's going to spike your blood sugar. So when blood sugar spikes, glucose builds up. So glucose builds up in the blood. Imagine that this is glucose. Anytime you eat high glycemic index foods, what's going to happen is that glucose is going to be building up in your blood. It will build up until you are going to have an accumulation of glucose like this, just standing in your blood doing nothing. And when there is an accumulation of glucose in the blood like this, what happens is that this glucose now is going to attach itself to nearby proteins, which is results in a chemical process called glycation. Do you understand what I'm saying? Glycation. So glycation is a pro-inflammatory process. That is the reason why when you eat high glycemic index foods and you have glucose accumulating in your blood, you are going to your body is going to undergo a process, a chemical process called glycation, which is pro-inflammatory. Do you understand? It creates more inflammation in your blood, and inflammation in your body is a cause for diseases like cataracts, for diseases like arthritis, for diseases like heart attack, heart disease. Inflammation, high inflammation in the body is not so good. So a diet that is high in flour, made from wheat, refined wheat grains like this, is not good. It's not in every area of your body is detrimental. You talk about the brain, it's going to trigger appetite and craving. You talk about the blood, it spikes blood sugar higher and faster. You talk about the pancreas. When blood sugar is high in the blood, the pancreas is there working overtime to, secrete insulin, which has to go now to try to metabolize glucose from these flour-rich foods that you have eaten. It is not good for your waistline, because there is fat storage. When there's a lot, there is fat storage, guys. So this is what I wanted to share with you today. Right, HbA1, diabetes, and so on. It is always better to reach to whole grain bread. This is an example of whole grain bread. I don't even want to show them this thing because I don't want to promote them. But if you read the label of this whole grain bread, it just says whole grain flour, water, Sonnenblumenkerne, what's that? I've forgotten the word, what it means. But one of some seeds, you understand? Some small raps oil, and that's it. There is no E22, E23, E24, E20, whatever in it. It's just it is whole grain. And what this whole grain is going to do for you, whole grain bread, always make sure that you are looking for whole grain bread. What whole grain bread is going to do for you is that it contains fiber already. Do you understand? It is the complete grain that has been ground into flour, which has now been used to produce this bread, whole grain bread. So you have fiber in here, you have antioxidants in here that help to reduce inflammation rate in your body. You have vitamin E, the B vitamins, you have vitamin E, you have the healthy fats in there, and all of that delicious goodness. And what that's going to do for you is that you are going to notice that you can eat just a slice of this whole grain bread and you are full. Why? Because it is the whole grain that has been used. It is not easily digestible. Do you understand? Now, if I wanted to do a demonstration, but I'm already over time, maybe I'm just going to do that in a separate video and post it on the page. If I were to pour water in this cup or in these two bowls, and I put this bread inside one and this bread inside the other one, and I try to dissolve it, you are going to see that the agege bread is going to be dissolved very, very fast. Sunflower seeds, thank you. So, just to say that because whole grain is made of the whole grain, the bran, the germ, and the endosperm, it is going to take a longer time for you to get hungry, because this bread, the fiber in the bread, is going to keep you fuller for longer. Do you understand? And the advice I can even give you, if you should even consume bread, try making your own bread at home, okay? If you have to buy bread from the supermarket, make sure that you know what is in the bread that you are eating. And if you must eat agege bread or kumba bread, please do that occasionally. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you are not following me already, please do so at Shape of African TV on YouTube, where I share healthy recipes and tips, as well as African food and nutrition sessions as this. We recently created a super fast weight loss group where we are doing intermittent fasting for weight loss, because from time to time you have to give your system a food break to be able to restore and clean itself up and detox itself, and also help you to lose weight and reverse probably some diseases like type 2 diabetes, which is the case with me. I'm sharing a lot there as well. So if you want to join that group, guys, search for Super Fast weight loss, SUPA-FAST weight loss group, and ask to join. We are starting a 24-hour fast on the 1st of November. We have already started doing some stuff, but there is a plan up already in the group, and if you want to join us, please feel free to, search the group and ask to join, and I'm going to see you there. God bless you all, and yeah, let me know what other topics you want me to talk about in the comments area below. Please share this video and also tag your friends to, see the page, follow the page, because there's more coming from where this is coming from. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Mwah! Bye.